All right, giving everybody a second to get connected to their audio. To make sure there's no echo, please make sure you're on mute unless you have something to say. People are going to be trickling in, so we'll give it a moment. Everybody can see my screen and hear me okay? Perfect. All right, it is 12:30, so let's go ahead and get started. I know people are still going to be joining, but that's okay. Hopefully they don't miss all the good stuff. But before we get started, a really quick introduction to the Maryland Women's Business Center. My name is Zina Estrada. I'm the Marketing and Events Manager. We are a nonprofit that's partially funded by the SBA, and we are headquartered in Rockville, Maryland. We serve Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Frederick, and Howard County. We just added Howard County into the mix. And we offer various services for women and minority-owned businesses. That being said, I actually do see a couple gentlemen on today's call. You guys are also welcome. We don't only serve women and minorities, we help anybody. But of course, women and minorities always need some extra help. So that's our target audience that we work with, but we offer free business counseling to those in our areas of jurisdiction, as well as tons of online trainings like this one, in collaboration with our partners like the Office of Procurement at Montgomery County. And we also do a bunch of in-person events as well throughout the year, so definitely check us out. There's some QR codes on the screen, but I'll also send some links into the chat for your convenience. If you have any questions about the Maryland Women's Business Center or would like to learn more about counseling or our other trainings, feel free to send me a message and I can get you connected. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our presenters for today, the Montgomery County Office of Procurement. Take it away, Grace.
Good morning. Welcome to our seminar. I'm Grace Dano. I'm one of the division chiefs with the Office of Procurement, Montgomery County. And today we're gonna go briefly to introduce how to do business with Montgomery County as a vendor, how to get contracts, how to get registered, certified. I have a couple of our program managers who manages local, small, minority, female-owned business. They will talk about their preference programs, going into some details in terms of how you can work with us to get more opportunities to participate in Montgomery County's procurement process. So let me share my screen. I do have some presentation I'd like to go through. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me share this one. Do you see the one screen or two screens?
Do you see the presentation?
Okay, the one screen. Okay. All right. So again, we're with Office of Procurement, Montgomery County. Just to give you an understanding, we process about between $1 billion to $1.5 billion annually through procurement. We serve all the executive and county council branch departments and offices. That includes about 40 departments and offices. Everything you can think of, like the police, the libraries, the recreation centers, HHS, human and health services, our finance, HR department, our general services who builds buildings, and our transportation department who does all the roads and traffic control. So all of that you can think of that the county serves for its residents. any functions that relates to contracting would go through procurement that will help them to process and get the contracts in place. So altogether, annually, we process about 9,500 actions, meaning we cut POs, we process requisitions, and at any time, we have about 2,600 active contracts. And for the annual public funds that will funnel through procurement, it's about $5 billion annually. And this is the main structure of our office. Our current director is Ash Shetty, and under him, there are 3 branches. I'm on the right-hand side, as you can see, that's for the contract compliance part of the office. And there are 6 program managers or specialists under me. Each manages 1 or multiple programs in terms of socioeconomic preference programs, as well as wage compliance programs and outreach, supplier diversity. All those programs is under this division. And on your left-hand side, that's where the operations division resides. And under that, there are 3 main teams for all the buyers to process all the contracts, solicitations, purchase orders, you name it. All the procurement actions are happening over there in that division. And in the middle, under central services, that's where our administration functions are under Sharonda Baltimore. So we have IT, our HR, our budget, our customer services are all under the central services division. This is just, you don't need to really look into each box, but this is kind of a visual for you to understand. For example, a solicitation, from drafting of a solicitation to the execution of a contract. These are all the steps that each of this transaction need to go through. Some of them are done by procurement, but some of them are done by a combination of procurement, other departments, including the using department, whoever that's going to get this contract, including the county attorney's office review, include the finances, risk management department review. So there are a lot pieces that are involved whenever we have a solicitation and try to get it into the contract. And then this is just to give you an idea. For most public entities, there would be some threshold that you should know when you're responding to county solicitations. The threshold itself could be different from jurisdictions to jurisdictions, but the basic idea is that for the, for example, Montgomery County, the formal solicitation threshold is over $100,000, meaning any solicitation that is over $100,000 need to go through a very formal procurement process. So under that, you have the invitation for bids, which we call IFB. Those are mainly price-based solicitations. Basically, the low price would be the 90% factor that we would consider who wins the contract. Then the other one is request for proposal. We call it RFP. Those are usually the best value related in terms of cost is one of the evaluation factors, but there are other evaluation factors such as past experience, your key personnel's resume, how far are you from the county center where if we needed service, you can show up within 30 minutes or 15 minutes. So those are other evaluation factors that we may consider when we issue a RFP. And then also there's REOI, which is a less popular process that we sometimes, if the county doesn't really know what is the most updated, most up-to-date technology or how people are doing this kind of industry, then the county would say, this is what we have, and we would like you to tell us what's the best approach to both do this job efficiently and also save county money. So for the REOI, a lot of times will rely on the vendors when they submit their offers to explain to us what is the best approach to this need that the county has. Then the next layer is called informal solicitations. Those are the solicitations between $10,000 and $100,000. And those are usually simpler requests. It also are divided as a cost-based or best value-based type of solicitations. But there are some steps that it's not as complicated as the formal solicitations, where the using department, whoever that's looking for this contract, are the ones trying to, they will be the one evaluating the proposal submitted, and they will be the one mainly making the decision. And then procurement, of course, will be helping them along the way to make sure all the documents are submitted, everything needs signatures, have signatures. So the informal solicitation a lot of times would be a good first starter for some of the smaller businesses when that you have never done business with the county before and you want to get your foot in the door. Then I would say probably take a look at our informal solicitations first. And then the next layer would be our direct purchase solicitations. Those are the smaller purchases that are under $10,000. And those actually will not go through procurement, where the using departments would just go on to, sometimes they can just Google, sometimes they go onto Amazon, and sometimes they can just use their purchase card and go to Office Depot and buy something. So those are the direct purchases where you wouldn't see them through procurement website, where we post all our formal and informal solicitations for open competition. A lot of times that is another good way for smaller businesses. If you have worked with using department either as a prime contractor or a subcontractor capacity, and then the using department contract administrator who would initiate these direct purchases, they are the ones who will say, oh, I remember I worked with who and who printing our little brochure. This time I just need 3,000 copies of something. I'll just go directly to them. So that's another way to get business with the county as a starter. The last but not least category is open solicitations. These are also open competition type of solicitations that we post on our website. I will show our website briefly later so you can see visually what it looks like. These are the solicitations usually do not have a due date, and then it's kind of open until fill type of almost like an open recruitment for jobs. And usually we see we are talking about services type of solicitations that the county have unlimited need for. For example, physicians, nurses, sometimes recreation, open season trainers, like our recreation pool, pool community centers, pools. In the summer, when we need swimming coaches or yoga coaches, a lot of times those are solicitations we'll put into the open solicitation category, where you can, as a vendor, can respond to them, and then we will continually have a need for those type of services. And from procurement point of view, we currently have 4 types of service goods and services that we're buying. They are goods, services, construction, and other. Other basically is usually we're saying services are more like a professional services, like accounting, legal services, architect, and engineering services. Others, sometimes we're talking about non-professional type of services, including maybe custodial services, landscaping, picking up trash, picking up recycle services, security guard services. Those usually will go under the other categories. So as I mentioned, and later our program managers, Michael Brown and Alvin Boss, will go into a little more details in terms of our local, small or minority female disabled persons program. I just noticed there's a misspelling on there. And then to give you an idea of how much money we're spending every year for our minority female disabled persons owned business program, in the last couple of years, we've spent over $200 million toward our minority owned businesses, especially for last fiscal year 23. We reached a record high of $246 million toward minority-owned businesses. And on the left-hand side, you will see the goals. These are the subcontracting goals, meaning, for example, if you are in the construction industry, then when you are responding to a construction contract request or a construction solicitation from the county, in calendar year of 2024, the subcontracting goal to have to subcontract a part of your dollars to minority female disabled persons subcontractors would be 16%. We always look at exceeding that goal. So when you are responding to our solicitations in your proposal, there is a MFD plan, the minority female disabled persons owned business subcontracting plan document. In there, we'll ask you to identify your subcontractors, and then we always will look for exceeding that whatever goal that's within that category. So this is just some headliners in terms of local small business. We spent about $300 million last year, and that counts for 31.3% of all eligible spending, versus MFD, we spent about $246 million, and that counts for 22.6% of all eligible spending. And also, I just want to mention that every year we do count how many brand new contractors that come into our participation process, meaning that we look at all the prime contractors to determine how many of the new contractors that had never worked with the county before that would come in this year. So last year it was 33%. So we are keep tracking of this so that we want to make sure that, I know there's sometimes a perspective that people think the county only work with already known vendors, and usually the incumbent has a leg up to get the contracts. So we are putting a lot of measures in to make sure that we are increasing the opportunities for all the new contractors to be able to participate in our procurement process. This is another statistics for FY23. We spent $305 million towards the local small business reserve program. Michael Brown will go into details in terms of what qualifies you as a local small business within Montgomery County. And then briefly, I want to mention, we also manage 2 wage programs. One is called a wage requirements law that applies to all the services contracts, including professional and non-professional services. And then the current rate would be $17.60 per hour for our any services contractors, employee who are working on our contract, who are performing measurable work on county contracts. Then they are required to submit payroll reports to us and are subject to wage audit from our office. We just want to make sure anybody who are working for Montgomery County contracts are paid at least $17.60 per hour. And then in terms of our prevailing wage law, that applies to our construction contracts. And then it's not a single flat rate. You would have we follow the state's prevailing wage rates, and they publish their rates every year. That's what we would follow. It depends on which industry or labor category the employee works on, be it electrician, plumber, painter, cleaner, truck driver, or whatever. So they will be looked at. They are also requested to submit their payroll reports, and we have a audit contractor looking at everybody's payroll and matching their labor category, and want to make sure that they are all paid correctly. In terms of if we found somebody was not paid correctly, then we would assess $10 per person per day for late submission, and then for the payroll, and then $20 per person per day for misclassification. Another function from our office is that we do a lot of outreach and diversity, supplier diversity management, also by Bethany Manimbo. So currently we have a online open house monthly, and that is the third Wednesday of each month. We have a Zoom meeting link on our website. So you can, everybody's welcome. You can sign up for those open houses. Sometimes we have different topics, and sometimes it's a generic Q&A session in case anybody has any question. And the county, our office usually does two major events, one in the spring, one in the fall. Usually the spring event is geared toward the local small minority-owned businesses. This year, it was in April. And then the fall event usually is around October, either, between September and November. It would usually be in the East County Community Center. And that's, we sometimes have our agencies or departments or any interesting topic. We'll have panels to talk about upcoming procurement events, or again, how to do business with Montgomery County. And then recently we did update our website. So this is our procurement website. And I do want to just show you very quickly to navigate through. Do you still see my screen with the website?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our home website, montgomerycountymd.gov/PRO. And then if you have submitted a solicitation or proposal to a solicitation and you want to know what happened, so first of all, we did make a Google-style solicitation tracker where you can put in a keyword or a solicitation number to find out at which stage that particular solicitation is at. Is it being evaluated, or was it an award that's already made? So for example, if I want to find out cleaning, then you can click on the particular solicitation and find out what's happening to that solicitation. So for example, this one's already completed. And if any of these stage got stuck, then you will see a red button there to say it's being reviewed, or proposed awardee has been already posted. And if you have any question, on the right-hand side, the technical contact would be the contract administrator within that department. And then the procurement specialist also has the contact information here that you can check with them what's happening to that particular solicitation. So here's our events and calendars. As I mentioned, that you can register to all these open houses for each month. And this event actually is today's event right here. And also for a lot of events, including today's, we would record the event. Then you can go into our video repository to look through some of the events that we did before, maybe of interest of yours. And then once so I would say the first step, if you have never done business with the county, then you want to register with the county first. So from the vendor resources, that's probably the first thing you should go to. So register as a business with the county first, and then look into any certification that you can benefit from. And then take a look at any of these other resources. And sometimes we, besides the events and videos, we also have some resources for the counts for you to, for example, subscribe to a weekly newsletter. And there are some other partner resources like Maryland Women's Business Center that you can go to get some help. We also have our small business navigator within our business center under the county executive office. A lot of times they are a very good resource. I think some of them actually may be on today's call here. We also have a Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. They sometimes have some resources in terms of grants or some other avenue that you can explore. So this is a good place to go. And then once you're ready, you can also go into our solicitation and contract tab. That's where I mentioned you can find all of our formal solicitations, informal solicitations, and open solicitations. So for example, go into formal solicitation. This is a list of the active solicitations that we currently have. So this is a good list for you to take a look, at least have an understanding what type of things, goods and services the county is buying. And you can view the scope, which will give you a very brief, up here, very brief scope to describe what that solicitation is looking for, so that you don't have to download the whole thing. But once you look at this part, they say, okay, that's interesting, then you can download the whole solicitation to really read through it. And some of these, if you can see, has a reserved for the local small business program. That's where Michael Brown will go into details in terms of how to do business as a local small business with Montgomery County. So some of these are reserved, this one too, for only local small businesses to participate, and this one too. So we have a lot of opportunities out there for you to look at, and hopefully you will get a chance to participate. Another thing I want to mention is we do have a projection site where you can look at what are some upcoming opportunities within the next 12 to 18 months. Usually these are the contracts that we know will expire within the next year or a year and a half. Then we will post them to show people. Then that's when the vendors should kind of get used to, okay, this is coming up, and then what are the solicitation look like, what kind of requirements they have, and then you can actually start preparing for your response to that upcoming solicitation. So you actually can see quite a few so contracts or solicitation opportunity coming up in the next, this is summer 2020, that's right now, and then winter 2024, this is coming up, the solar infrastructure. So there's definitely some of the good resources that you can explore from our website. The last thing I want to show you is if you you know which department you are interested in, or you have questions regarding particular type of services, then you can find a contact information list from here. Either a list of contract administrator by departments. Let's say if you are in the road building or you lay asphalt, for example, then you know that you want to talk to someone from transportation. Then you can go into here and find who are the contract administrator within the Department of Transportation and then contact them. And then here is the list of procurement specialists who are assigned by different departments or services. So that's another thing. You can ask questions like, okay, if you have a contract for that, when will that contract expire? And when do you expect a new solicitation coming out for this particular services? So those are some procurement specialist questions that they can definitely answer for you. And then with that, I'd like to pass it on to Alvin Boss, who is the Minority Female Disabled Owned Business Program Manager. And he will go into a little more details in terms of our MFD program. Al?
Okay, thank you, Grace. And good afternoon. My name is Al Boss, and I'm the program manager for the Minority Female Disabled Business Program. I'm not going to go into very much detail due to time constraints here, but I will let you know that the program is basically or primarily is a subcontracting program. We assist certified minority firms in gaining access to contract opportunities for which a prime may have available in the purchase of goods and or services or subcontracting in support of the contract. Our program is very unique in that we will not place any limitations on that prime contractor as it relates to doing business with a minority certified business. So therefore, they are encouraged to purchase any goods and or services as it relates to the contract, direct or indirect. As you can see under our overview, we have the various categories or goals for our purchasing categories. Construction is 16%. That 16% or these percentages represent the total value of the contract for the life of the contract that would include any modifications or renewals to that contract. Again, we don't care what they buy in terms of their purchasing needs. We give them the latitude and longitude to determine what their needs are with the participation of those certified minority firms. So if they are professional services, 19%, and these goals are subject to change from time to time or fiscal year to fiscal year because we do produce an annual report to determine these categories meeting certain goals. And this is based on the U.S. Census Bureau. Speaking of that, our program is under a disparity study. And I'm not going to elaborate much on that, but it's ongoing. And we hope that it does produce what is needed to improve what we're doing. Furthermore, the certifications that we do recognize, you can see there are 6, and I'll just basically go through these 6. You have Maryland Department of Transportation, and which the program is the Minority Business Enterprise. Now, I want to specify these agencies and their programs, what they provide, because it's congruent with our policies and our regulations that defines what a minority firm is, being at least 51% minority owned, controlled, and daily operated by one or more minority person or persons. So they do fit our criteria as it relates to what constitutes a certified minority firm. The other certifications, of course, you have the Federal Small Business Administration or the SBA 8A certification, nothing outside of that certification. You have the Federal Business Administration, and this is for the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Business. You have the WBEC or the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council, and the City of Baltimore. I also want to share with you some core functions as it relates to what we do and who we are. Well, we are basically a monitoring and tracking and assistance in terms of providing education to not only the minority firms, but to the primes. Prime contractors play a very important role in the contracting process. With that said, there are basically 5 core functions that are carried out in our office. One is procurement and minority business education. That empowers, that provides the knowledge base for which they are required to proceed with the participation of certified minority firms and understanding that process. Because number one, the plan cannot, if there's no what is called minority female disabled subcontractor performance plan, or MFD plan, that is not approved, the contract cannot be executed. That's function number one. Function number two is compliance. Is a very essential and bedrock of our process because it does the tracking and monitoring, and it ensures that whomever they list on the MFD plan is being carried out as it relates to the commitment of the contract. The MFD plan is part and parcel of the contract. And again, it cannot, the contract cannot be executed until the MFD plan is approved. MFD compliance, however, is a component of the contractual process. So all this fits together in terms of packaging the requirements, which includes minority participation or response to the MFD compliance process and moving forward with the contract. Number 3, reporting. We produce an annual report every fiscal year just to track and monitor what we did for that year. And of course, Grace has shared with you the information and the statistics that we have made inroads in terms of each of the fiscal year. We still have a long ways to go, in my opinion, even though those figures may look good. I think that we can do better. And with your input, your participation, I think that we can, because we're open to any ideas to assist us in making it better for you. The fourth core function here is customer service. Customer service is very important and essential to the function of our office. Along with educating, we provide assistance in navigating them through the process, or any vendor through the process. It's in our best interest, because it's in the interest of any vendor that is seeking to know how to do business, number one, and those prime contractors and seeking as to what they need to do in order to appropriately respond to MFD requirements. So it's incumbent upon us to provide that information so they can move forward in a more appropriate fashion in terms of doing business and navigating through the process. And then we have outreach. These are the, the outreach is basically what it is. We go to these functions so we can bring in new blood, if you will, to add the fuel to Montgomery County as it relates to giving them an opportunity, as well as anybody else, to explore. Let me just elaborate on this in terms of exploring and the benefits. Exploring is simply making a connection and identifying the need, let's say a prime contractor has, or a need that a using department has, okay? With making that connection, you're also introducing yourself. And that introduction is to get them to let you know in terms of who you are and what you can provide. I assist in any manner that I can with the prime contractor meeting or exceeding the goal. Open up the lines of communications with respect to them talking to any prime contractor, regardless of what the contract award is, regardless of what you do, but the opportunity just to connect to so that they can get to know who you are and what you can provide and bring to the table. It also gives you the opportunity, not only them letting you know, but something that they could possibly need from you as it relates to the support that will increase their performance and make them responsive and or more responsive to the terms and conditions of the scope of services. We do invite you to participate as a vendor, not only as a contractor, but any input that you may have in making that connection with prime contractors. Speaking of that, I often, and one of the functions that I carry out as it relates to education, one-on-one counseling, I do schedule appointments, whether they be virtual or in-house. Number two, I do make referrals. I make these referrals based on the fact that either a prime has a need to explore because they have available opportunities, okay, to spend money, okay, with respect to the need, or just to send you out there so you can sell yourself, convince them or influence them in such a manner that they need what you have. With that in mind, you may not get the answer that you're looking for or the response, but what you will get is a connection. What you will have is an opportunity to further explore and reconnect as time goes on their contract, because again, you're building a relationship and people getting to know each other in terms of what one can do for the other. I'm going to open up for any questions. I don't want to take up too much time here, with the exception to say that, what are the benefits to your certification? Well, number one, we have provided an incentive in the RFPs for a prime contractor to receive, let's say, 10 points out of 100 to submit what is called the MFD plan upfront, exceeding the goal or exceeding the participation goal with certified minority firms, okay? This incentive is for them to take seriously what we're doing with respect to their commitment. So they are obligated by law that if they submit a plan that exceeds, let's say, the 19% goal, and it falls up under professional services, in order for a non-minority firm to get these points, they must exceed the goal. So that's one benefit. If you are a certified minority firm, you will get half of the 10 points or 5 automatically based on your certification. To get the other half, bidding as a prime contractor, you must exceed half of the 19% goal or come in with minority participation exceeding 9.5% of the total value of the contract for its life. So we're providing this incentive on both sides of this equation for a minority firm who is seeking to do business with a non-minority business, and whether that non-minority business be a 501c3, for-profit, non-MFD status, or for-profit with the certification that we do recognize. With that said, this is to provide incentive for everyone to have an opportunity to participate and be heard. We are unique in that what we do, we not only make referrals, but you will have the opportunity just to keep me in the loop as to how things are going. Not saying that because I referred you that you're going to get anything, but just to know that you have an opportunity to connect, to follow up with me, and I have an opportunity possibly to have that discussion with the prime contractor to see how they're coming with their plan. That pretty much concludes my presentation, and I appreciate this opportunity. I don't know if we're opening this up for any questions at this point, but at the end, I'll be around to answer any. My information, by the way, is in the chat, so please feel free to contact me should you have any questions, or if you want to carry on any discussions further or need assistance with respect to understanding nuts and bolts of this program, it would be certainly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al. I'd like to reserve the Q&A toward the end. I want to make sure that we also get enough information from Michael Brown regarding the local small business. I do want to mention, you can put your questions into the chat box so that we can answer them in the writing form. There is a question regarding education-based services. Our Montgomery County Office of Procurement, we only serves for the using departments of county executive and county council in terms of Montgomery County Public Schools, as well as Montgomery College. They both have their own procurement office. So if you want to check out the education-based contracts, you may want to go to their respective procurement website to look for the solicitations on their own websites. And now let me move it on to Michael Brown. Michael is our program manager for our local and small business programs, and we have a few of them. So I'll take it to Michael.
Okay, thank you, Grace. And good afternoon, everyone. Like Grace said, my name is Michael Brown, and I manage the local business programs here in Montgomery County, the Office of Procurement, specifically with the business Division of Business Relations and Compliance. So basically, I manage all three of our local programs, the first being the Local Small Business Reserve Program. We also have the Local Business Preference Program, and also the local business subcontracting. But I'm going to start with local small business. That's for the most part our main certification program, that if you are truly local and small in Montgomery County, that's the certification that you want to get first. And just a little bit of background on LSBRP. All county departments are charged with spending at least 25% of their available procurement dollars with local small businesses. So anything that comes into procurement that is valued at 10 million or below, it's automatically assumed to go out as local small business, unless the department, well, they can seek an exemption based on the fact that there are no LSBRP vendors available to do this work, or if it's really specific and specialty and there's only maybe a few firms in the state or maybe in the country who can do it, we typically give exemptions. And there's like 8 different exemption categories. I won't go into all of them now, but we really try to work hard to make sure that these opportunities are reserved for local small businesses. So the main thing that you want to do, just starting off, if you are truly local, you want to get certified, and you want to get registered in our vendor database. And I believe Grace went over that earlier. And you want to make sure you submit your application to become certified as a local small business. So I'm going to go into the qualifications really quick to become certified as LSBRP. The first part, local. You must be in Montgomery County. Your principal place of business has to be located in the county. And we define that as, you have a physical location here in the county, and you can provide documentation to support that, mainly being a lease, or if you own the property, proof of ownership will be accepted. But for instance, if you do have location both in and outside of the county, as some businesses do, then that county location has to house more than half of your employees, or it must generate more than half the revenue company-wide in order to be considered your principal place of business. So that's the first part of it, is being here in the county, and we can verify that you're truly here. In addition to that, we have employee thresholds, depending on the type of business that you are. So for example, you are a service-related business, you must be under 100 employees. But if you do have more than 100 employees, then we need to take a look at your revenue. And revenue cannot exceed $10 million on average over the previous 3 years in order to qualify. So it's really one or the other. You either have to be under 100 employees, or your revenue has to be under $10 million in order to qualify. So in addition to that, you must be independently owned and operated, and you also cannot be a subsidiary of a larger company in order to qualify. So it's pretty straightforward. if you do become certified as local small business, you'll automatically be certified as local. So you won't need to take any additional steps to also be certified as local. You'll get the local certification. You'll also be LSBRP. But LSBRP, when Grace was showing you the solicitation page earlier, it had specific opportunities that were set aside for local small businesses. And those are the ones that, that's where the benefit of being certified as local small business comes in, because these opportunities that are reserved, and you can see institutional mattresses right there. Vendors who are certified are the only ones who can bid on this. So what it does is it gives you a better opportunity of being successful, because it takes the larger vendors in that field out of the playing field. Okay, so you're truly only competing against other local small businesses in order to see if you can be successful with taking down a contract with the county. Understand though, like I said, with the categories, revenue under 10 million. So if you got a company that's got 90 employees and their revenue is right around 9 million, understand it that they're probably going to be better positioned than say a small consulting one-man show that has a home office. So even though it's small and you're going to have better chance to compete, you're still going to be competing with some substantial businesses. And and I just like to be upfront, because I don't want people to think that okay, we're really only going to be competing with other businesses that are our size or whatever. Like if they meet these size criteria right here, then they're going to be certified as local, and that's going to be your competition for these opportunities that come out. But it is an excellent way to get started with the county. Like I said, Grace mentioned earlier, FY23, there was over $300 million that was awarded to local small businesses. So it's not just a program that we talk about and really there's only small contracts going to it. There's substantial contracting dollars that are truly going to local small businesses. And so I just want to put that out there. But moving forward, let's talk about the local business preference program. So this is comes into play if you are a larger company. Say for instance, when I was saying with the $10 million, if you're over $10 million, you're over 100 employees, but you're still located here in Montgomery County, you meet those qualifications that I said earlier about principal place of business, you can become certified as a local vendor. And the benefit of this program is for the opportunities that we do not reserve for local small businesses only. Say we put out a solicitation and it's not reserved, so anyone from anywhere can respond to it. We still want to give local vendors a leg up. So with the local business preference program, we will set aside 10% of the evaluation criteria. So for example, if we're talking about 100 points is the evaluation criteria, 10 points specifically are set aside for you being certified as a local vendor in our database. And we're strictly looking at the fact that you are here in Montgomery County. Revenue does not come into play, number of employees, none of that comes into play. It's strictly you being here in the county, and you will be able to be qualified as being certified as local, and that will get you like I say, when we're talking about RFPs, it's 10% of the evaluation criteria. And if we're looking at IFB's, invitation for bids, we will discount your bid by 10%. But keep in mind, there's a $200,000 ceiling on that. So it's a 10% discount on your bid, or the max that we will go is $200,000 as far as discounting your bid. So that also is another opportunity to position your company to benefit from being certified in our database as being local. And that 10% in the RFP, or that 10% discount, could be the deciding factor of you actually being successful and winning a contract. So being certified local like that's something that we're coming for those ones that we can't set aside. The third program that I'm going to talk about is the local business subcontracting program. And where this program comes in, when I said earlier, anything under $10 million is assumed to be local small. If it's over $10 million, it's an automatic exemption. It cannot be reserved for local businesses. However, what we are going to do is to, with the local business subcontracting program, we require whoever the prime vendor is prior to signing the contract, we would like them to subcontract at 10% of the dollar value of the contract with a certified local company. So this is still giving, certified local vendors an opportunity to still do business. So say, for example, you see we're building a new fire station, and it's $35 million contract. And, you're a small, contracting company. You may do drywall, you may do carpeting, you may do painting. We are going to really press that prime vendor to look through our database to make sure that you are reaching out to the local vendors and see what you can find. And we also encourage the certified local vendors, come to these pre-submission conferences and see if you can possibly make a connection, introduce yourself, let it be known what your specialty is, what you do, and you're looking for an opportunity to subcontract, and just kind of let them know. And I'm typically at these pre-submission conferences, I'll let them know that there is a requirement for local subcontracting, and we're looking for 10%. So it's right out there out front. Look at the sign-in sheet, find some people, and network. See if you can find an opportunity. So with being local here in Montgomery County, there are 3 different offerings, and basically you kind of get in where you fit in, what is appropriate for you at your level. But those are the 3 local programs that we have, and I'm just going to open it up, I guess, for all questions at this time or whatever. Please feel free to ask either myself, Al, or Grace any type of questions that relate to doing business with Montgomery County. Thank you for your time.
Michael, I see a question in chat. Is there absolutely no exceptions for a small business that is in Maryland, but with no official location in Montgomery County? Can they still be certified?
No, unfortunately, you have to be in Montgomery County. Being a small business, but in the state of Maryland, but not specifically in Montgomery County, unfortunately, you would not meet the requirements for our LSBRP certification.
Here's a question for Al. Is there a separate registration required for business that already has a certification under MDOT's DBE program to do business with Montgomery County?
That's a good question. Let me respond this way. Because Montgomery County does not certify, we do rely upon those certifications, which MDOT is one. So simply all you need to do is just go to the business classification section of the application. You'll be prompted to scan and upload that proof of certification, whether that certification be a letter or a certificate from that certifying agency or entity. Scan, upload it, and then you're done. The process is complete. From there, all you need to do is just hit the ground running in terms of gaining information and resources to start doing business with the county.
Thank you. I also would like to make a clarification that if you do not have any of these certifications, like a local or small business or minority-owned business, women-owned business certification, you are still welcome to do business with Montgomery County. So you can, number 1, register as a regular vendor in our vendor registration system, and then you can respond to all of our solicitations except for the ones that's reserved under the LSBRP program. So Montgomery County welcomes to do business with everyone. Only if you do have 1 or 2 of those certifications, then you will have opportunity to get some preference points, or you are able to compete only against local small businesses. But for the majority of our solicitations, we are open to everybody and we're welcome to do business with everybody. Is there any more questions?
I see a question in the chat. Is there an opportunity for a healthcare staffing agency in the procurement process? Did we answer that already?
Yes, I did answer in the chat box. However, that is a good question. So we do have we have quite a few, couple of them, at least, staffing contract opportunities from different departments, including one that's with HHS, which is specifically healthcare service provider staffing contracts. Most of our contracts are out there. Once a vendor is signing to a contract, it will be 3 to 5 years contracts. So if there was a contract that was recently executed, maybe let's say last year, then it means that you will not see a solicitation opportunity for at least 2 more years. So it depends on what the contract term is. Then you may or may not see another opportunity coming out in very soon. So one thing is to look at our projection website, and also you can take a look at our contract log to see, which is also under the solicitation tab, contract search, to see the current active contract, when will that one expire. For Alvin Boss and Michael Brown contact information, would you mind, both of you, just put your email address again into the chat box? Because I see some people wants to make sure that you do get their email addresses, so you can reach out to them.
Hey, Grace, yes, I put mine in there earlier, but, and I did check to see if it was still in there. But if you want to contact me, of course, it's very easy. Alvin, ALVIN .boss, BOSS, at MontgomeryCountyMD.gov. Thank you.
And we do have another question in the chat box. How to confirm if your disability counts?
Well, in terms of being identified as a disabled-owned company and participating in our minority business program, that will come through the certification process. And you can explore their process and certifications with the 6 certifications that we do recognize. And of course, the one that we do recognize, if you're a service disabled vet. If you're disabled, of course, a disabled company or a person that has a disability, that's going to be predicated on the certifying agency that deems you to be a disabled owned company. So because we don't certify, we do rely upon either one of those 6 certifications in determining your status on that.
Thank you. One last question. We're a little bit running over. For Michael, if this company is a foreign LLC with a Montgomery County location, would they allow to participate as an LSBRP?
Yes, they could still possibly qualify for LSBRP. However, that Montgomery County location, it has to meet the requirements of being your principal place of business, meaning it has to have more than 50% of the employees housed at that location, or that location must generate more than 50% of the revenue company-wide.
And also, it's not a subsidiary of a large company.
Correct. Yeah, it must be independently owned and operated.
All right, I'll turn it back to Zena. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, one more question. Bethany, do you know, do we have any in-person event coming up?
Yes, we will have an in-person event on September 26th at the East County Community Recreation Center in Silver Spring, Maryland. We are in the we're in the beginning planning phases of that, so we have not posted any information about it, but please save the date for September 26th. Thank you.
Yeah, and keep an eye on our advertisement on our event calendars. You will see once we have that all secured. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. We were recording this webinar, so I will also distribute that as well once we hop off here. So thank you so much to the Office of Procurement team as always, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everybody.
Thank you very much.